Gamer's Viewpoint. We talked about my first win on Warzone ever. Bad movies on Netflix. We did the review of the 8-bit mini turbo graphic controller. There's a whole lot more wording in there, but I can't remember. What was the word? What was the whole title?
8-bit-do.
The what?
Oh, the brand name, the company that makes the wireless controllers for like all these things. It's 8-bit-do.
Okay.
Or like 8-bit-do. It depends on how you. It's like it's either a play on words of Nintendo, or it's just 8-bit-do. I really don't know.
Right. But that was reviewed. It was really, really extensive review. So make sure you check that out. And we talked about good and bad games we've been playing lately. So anyways, so if you missed it, make sure you catch the podcast on that. All right, guys. Thank you.
So, hey, welcome to the GameEnthus podcast, episode 411. It is Saturday, May 23rd. Had to double check that. 2020. And I am your host this week, Tiny, a.k.a. David, or maybe that was backwards, but whatever. And we have Mike here.
Hello, I am here.
Yeah. Aaron is, I'm going to steal Giant Bomb's parlance, on assignment. So, but last but not least, we have Javi and Angel with us from Gamers on the Edge.
We are in here. And Tiny's been called Tiny so long, he actually thought that was his real name, and his AKA was David.
I have gotten paychecks. So, like,
that's awesome.
It's understandable.
My universe, one of the I used to TA when I was in college. And the teacher, I am convinced, did not actually know my real name for like the good part of a year. That he had the student union make the checks out to Tiny, and I had to go back and be like, this is, my bank says I can't cash this because I have nothing that says that's my name. So, but
now we know your name's David, so we're getting the 411 on episode 411.
Yeah, it's perfect.
That's all. It's fitting.
Let's introduce you guys. So I already mentioned you're from Gamers on the Edge. Angel, you're first on the outline. What's going on? Introduce yourself. Share what's going on.
I am Angel. I am the founder of Gamers on the Edge. I say I'm the founder, but really this is like my wife, Lori, Javier, David, Victoria was in there at the very beginning of that. It's really a family thing. We do, obviously, as Tiny knows, we do fundraising for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. We happen to do it through gaming tournaments, events. We have donated just over $80,000 since we started doing this, and we take care of all the game rooms and gaming consoles at local children's hospitals. Over 50 gaming consoles at our local hospital. It takes forever to set that stuff up, but it's a lot of fun.
Where would that local hospital be?
That is Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in St. Petersburg, Florida.
It is
just
true.
Trying to help kids feel like kids while they're in there. We actually, during this quarantine, we managed to get an arcade cab with just over 400 games in it. So as soon as this quarantine's over, we have this arcade cab with 400 games ready to be delivered to the hospital. So we're really excited about that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Teach the youngins about the old arcade games.
They are a bunch of old... Well, we wanted to get a two-player arcade game where, the parents and the kids could actually play together and have a good time. Because, again, they're stuck in there with some serious things to deal with, so it's nice for them to be able to play, and then for them to be able to play with dad or mom Galaga or something that they played ages ago. They're like, what is this? It's
two-player Galaga.
Yeah, so we're excited about that.
Very cool.
And this is Javi.
Yes, I am Javi. I often go as Pickle. So okay, the first
That's why I asked, because I was
and he's the older half. He's the older half of a twin set.
I am the older half of a twin set
by a whopping 18 minutes. Yeah.
But that is 18 minutes of solid gold peace and quiet.
We're sitting in the living room, and Javier turns to David, the younger one, and goes, I remember when I was your age, and I was sitting over there. And I was like, what?
It was 18 minutes ago. Just
like
over there.
Anyway.
It was almost like it was just a few minutes ago. It was crazy.
Peace and quiet, because I believe, and maybe this is just in our limited interaction over the years, you are the loud one?
Okay, so
Wow,
that's a hard one, because while how do I put this?
Okay, I'll do this for you.
Well, David is running the tournament.
Javier is more visible
Yeah.
because we usually throw him in front of cameras and stuff. But David is the loudest by far. And most people have no clue. But David, when David, he only has 2 volumes. It's like turned off or like full volume. There's no in between.
I have learned to project and learned to emote more in like bigger and louder settings. My brother does not do that. But when I'm at home,
he only has one volume.
Like you don't hear me.
No.
Like I'm just like super quiet. But so about Pickle. The only reason I don't go by Pickle a whole lot is because every time I go by Pickle, someone hits me with the Pickle Rick. And I was Pickle Rick like a good 3 years before Rick and Morty was even on the drawing boards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's not because it's Pickle Rick. I don't think that's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's just, after so many times of hearing it, you just go by Javi, you know?
Sure.
Hey, understood.
But, yeah, I am the free labor.
That is true.
Yeah.
He is free labor.
I get paid in room and food.
Javier carries everything. David runs everything. So that's usually, you know, and they'll go across every so often. Javier will run some things, and David will carry things. But generally speaking, we'll have David run things and Javier carry things.
David is the mentally stable one. I'm the physically stable one.
There's a lot of truth to that.
That's all I'm saying. Oh, man.
All I'm saying is Lori is a saint, because I've known all 3 of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We actually, it's funny because we have a chat on Messenger, and you can name your chats. And we have a chat on Messenger that is Javier, David, myself, and Lori. And the name of the chat is Poor Mommy.
just
like, sorry, honey.
it's unfortunate.
Hey, understood. So I mean that's an introduction. Anything going on right now that you want to share? Any tournaments that you took part in, Javi? Or I thought I saw something about you playing recently.
There's been a lot of tournaments going on.
So I haven't been in a whole super lot of tournaments recently. The last like actual tournament that I like practiced for was back before quarantine. Back in when was CEO talk? I don't
even know.
CEO.
I lost track of time.
But
February.
it was that was a thing way back when. But what I've really been like caught up in right now is Super Mario 64 and Apex Legends.
Okay.
So Super Mario 64, back in a previous podcast, we talked about the importance of that and like how I got into like actually really, really liking the game. But like recently I saw Cheese set the world record for the 120 star Super Mario 64 run. And I was like, I should do this. This looks really fun. It's got like so much precise movement in it. And the funny thing is that if you're just doing, so there's multiple categories. There is 0 star, there is 1 star, 16 star, 70 star, and then there is 120 star. But the easiest one to do is 16 star. Like I played for 3 days and I could already beat the game in like 30 minutes. It's like an insanely easy game to pick up, but it's really, really hard to master.
Gotcha.
And then Apex Legends. So the funny thing is, my friend,
Oranges.
So this wasn't intentional at all, but my small friend group, most of us are named after food.
Yeah, it is. I just realized that.
My one friend Alina, she goes by mozzarella or strawberries depending on what the day is.
Yeah.
My best friend Andrew, he goes by oranges, and I go by pickle. So that's 3 out of the 4 of us. The other one's my brother. He goes by I Be Smart.
Because he be smart.
Because he be smart, you know? He is the smart one. But, so we've been playing Apex Legends for a while, and we hadn't been doing great. Like, we'd been slowly getting better, and then one night, it's like, it's
Just
after
clicked.
12, and we're like, you know what? You know what would be really funny? We were in the middle of a game, and we're like, what if we listened to Russian hard bass while playing this? So we switched to another chat so we can listen to music, and we actually ended up almost winning that game. So every single time we've played Apex after that, we've just like started playing music, whether it's like metal, hard bass, or we've even played Eurobeat. Like just whole Eurobeat mixes, and we've started to like progressively play better and better, and now we're getting definitely 1 win a day, but we're working towards like 2 wins a day. It happens every once in a while, but
I tell you, it's been interesting. We've been working a lot with Microsoft as of lately, and it's been kind of like all over the place. We've done everything from Jackbox with an entire Microsoft crew to also doing Call of Duty with them. We're actually going to be running, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but we're going to be running a COD tournament here pretty soon. Although I did win my first ever Warzone game.
Okay.
Yeah. I play Warzone quads
What
for.
corner did you hide in?
Listen, I play Warzone quads for the first time. Never played Warzone quads, and the very first game I played, I won.
You were on top.
I won. It had nothing to do with the fact that one of our guys got 25 kills.
absolutely nothing.
It was all
Nothing
me.
to do with that.
Both of my kills were key to winning. I honestly, I couldn't believe it. It was Devin Chives, one of the Microsoft guys, and these other 2 guys. The guy from the UK literally was just 25 kills. I just ran behind him the entire game.
For those of you who don't know, Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone, which is the BR that they created, there's 150 people in one game.
He killed 25 of them.
He killed a sixth of the whole player roster.
There was no hiding. This dude was just chasing people down.
That's ridiculous.
And I was running behind him.
He killed a whole sixth of the player roster.
It's 150 people? In
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. And he killed 25 of them.
I mean, hey, he got you to the finish line. You crossed it, though. That was the important part.
I've never... Literally, I just ran behind him the entire game. I only got 2 kills because he, injured 2 guys, and then I went and finished them off.
See,
I could have hit them with a pistol, and they still would have died, you know?
See, what happens is you're a NASCAR driver. He was just an engineer. Nobody praises the mechanics when somebody wins in NASCAR.
He was on it.
Just
it
the
was
driver.
so funny. It was. I've never seen anything like that.
Devin, is this Devin from your local Microsoft store?
Yeah, he's the Devin that I brought to Elu that one year.
He's the cool Devin.
Yeah, we've been working with the Microsoft store for years, and they've been really good. And again, we're gonna save this till later on, teaser. But yeah, we got more stuff coming up with Microsoft.
Good stuff.
Stay around.
Okay,
After these commercials.
Like we talked about before the show, whatnot. Feel free to interrupt, or if you got
that's easy.
to share. But I'm gonna move on. Mike, what have you been up to?
Still not a whole lot. It's mostly just still busy with work. Really, I mean, I'm basically as busy as I would be on a mid-tier busy May day or week or whatever. Like I'm still surprised by all this because it still feels like we're a little less busy. But then every time I stop and go, oh wait a minute, no, I need to go. Still need to do that. I need to do that. I don't have time to do that today. Oh, all right. Well, I'll have to. The point being is like, I don't have as much free time as I keep feeling like I'm going to get this free time. Everybody else has got like unlimited free time. They're like, well, not everybody, but other people have like this newfound time to be like, oh, I can binge the whole world and I can, finish all those games that are sitting in the basement or whatever. I'm like, I got nothing.
I have finished a lot of Netflix.
Yeah.
But in my defense, all of it has been through work. So I sit here and I work on this PC and then I watch really bad Netflix on the other one. And I purposely make sure that it's bad, like
right.
So that I don't pay too much attention, but my ADHD can't handle just working. I have to have noise on the side or something. So like I said, I've seen some really bad Netflix. If you want to know what's bad on Netflix, I got you.
It hurts a lot of times because so if you were just watching like normal things on Netflix, it wouldn't be bad. But no, he watches like all of these foreign shows.
It's so bad. The dub is so bad.
He can't watch the sub because
I'm working.
So he has to watch the dub, and the dub, it's so bad.
The English is so bad that what they're saying doesn't even actually match with the subtitles of the English. Like the English subtitles and the English language don't even match. It's bad. It's bad. But again,
hired two different crews to do the two different sides of it, and one of them didn't speak the native language that they were watching.
It's so bad.
It's ridiculous.
It really is bad. But yeah, I got you. If you want to know what's bad on Netflix, I got you covered.
Ideally, I'd like to watch what I'd still like to watch and hope is good, like Castlevania Season 3. I still haven't gotten very far in that, and I'd really I'm like staring at the poster on the wall that I have framed. Like I'm into it, but I just haven't. I don't know. I don't even like think of it most days.
Well, but I mean, with working outside and in the industry you are in the business that you run, like yes, you are not as you are going to still be busy.
Yeah. Well, and also like the other day I got home, like I wasn't late coming home. I was just home right about on time, maybe even a few minutes earlier than I might otherwise. And and I was talking to a friend on the phone, and I think I went down to get the mail, and as I turned around and came back, and I was like, I didn't open the garage door. What is this? And then my wife's just standing there, and she's like, can we go for a bike ride? You're home early. And I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. So she's like, we'll just it'd be quick, whatever. It wound up being like 2 hours. So like,
because I mean, unlike your wife is working from home, and
right, she's like, she wants to get out.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. My wife is working outside. She works for a financial planner, but they work out of their home, so they have an office upstairs. So she goes from this house to their house. But me, I do social media for different companies. So I literally just sit in front of this thing and just, hack it out. That's why I said on the other screen, I watch all the bad stuff. It can't be too good because then I'll pay attention.
Right. But if it's so bad, it like comes back around and becomes entertaining.
It does. It is. It really is. There's a couple of those that were so bad. We actually watched one that it started really bad, and at the end we're like, "Wow, this was actually pretty good."
What was it called? Oh, it was like Lockout or something.
Dude, the sarcasm in it was on point.
It was insane.
Wait, it's not Lockdown. It's not the Sylvester Stallone.
No.
Okay.
No, it's a sci-fi.
It's a new
on
Netflix original.
the if you love sarcasm, you got to check this movie out. It was nonstop sarcasm. It was so good.
Yeah.
What was it? Wait, was it called again?
I got to look it up because
Lockdown is what you said?
I'll look it up to
It was
make
like
sure.
Lockout or Lockdown.
Lockout?
Listen, you watch the first 5 minutes, and if you like sarcasm, you're already hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, now I'm just adding stuff to the list of things that I haven't watched.
I'm telling you, it was so good.
Well, what's on your list?
There's some really bad CGI, like for 2 minutes. but once you get past that bad CGI, he gets back to being sarcastic, and you're like, yeah, this is what I turned in here for.
Like, there's 3 minutes of bad in the movie, and it's all because of, like, terrible CGI.
Yeah.
Like, there was better CGI back in, man, what was that movie? Spy Kids 3D. Like,
That's
back
a
then.
throwback.
Let's see.
Yeah, but I mean, to your question, Javi, one of the things I already mentioned, like Castlevania, but another one is Watchmen. I've been hearing plenty good about that, and I always liked the since I read it, the original series of comics, and then I did like the movie a lot, so I've been interested in basically anything Watchmen. Although I heard before Watchmen was awful, so I didn't even touch that, but I started watching the first episode. There was a free preview of HBO on our cable last weekend. So I started watching the first episode, and about halfway through, I was just sort of like, I kind of want to do something else. And and then I tried to watch more of it later, and I fell asleep. So
it's Lockout.
Lockout?
Lockout.
I threw a link into.
He threw the IMDb up.
It's so good.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm sure it has like 10 Rotten Tomatoes, but it's so
6.1
good.
out of 10.
This is sarcasm, 11 out of 10.
Guy Pearce.
Guy Pearce and
I've
Maggie
heard of
Grace
him.
are your leading roles.
I remember him.
The one thing I know everybody's freaking out about on Netflix is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, that was
The
just
original
added.
show?
Yes, it just came back on Friday.
Well, they
had it
also
years
added
ago.
the movie on it,
Oh,
but nobody
good.
wants to watch that, or nobody
saw
should
that in
want to
theaters.
watch that.
I'm pretty sure that's how I watched Avatar the first time, was on Netflix when they had it back then.
Okay, so sometimes I like to imagine people at a table having a discussion.
Okay.
And I wonder how this discussion went down. Hey, we're going to do The Last Airbender as an action, live action
An
show.
action film.
What do you think about using that guy that did The Sixth Sense? Like,
What about M. Night Shyamalan?
he did The Sixth Sense. I mean, I think those two. What?
Has he done
put
anything
that-
else? Oh, he did Signs.
How do you put those things together? Like,
I mean, he did the greatest comedy movie you can watch, The Happening. Mark Wahlberg's being attacked by wind.
It was pretty funny.
yeah, I don't understand how that conversation even got that far.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff, and if Aaron was here, it's a shame he's not, because I think we all enjoyed Avatar. Aaron is a huge fan. But I mean, there are things in that movie like, hey, what if we recast a lot of the people as white people? And what if the Earthbenders who are living on Earth for some reason can't use the Earth to fight?
is that really a thing? I've never actually seen it because
If you watch the movie,
it's like Mike with the Watchmen
cartoon-
movie.
In the cartoon, I think they're stuck on an iron island essentially, and that's why they can't
Yeah.
Right.
be subjugated because they can't bend the metal. They don't know metal bending. But in
Unless
the
you're
movie,
tough.
they never explain any of that, so it just looks it's just dirt. So
Just dirt.
when and then Aang comes along and inspires them and they revolt. But before that, why couldn't they fight? Because they had all the tools. So,
And by all the tools, we mean a lot of dirt.
Lots and lots of dirt.
it's a lot of dirt. So, but yeah. So I didn't realize the movie was on there.
I I'm not gonna. I don't want to see it. Like, there's no reason to waste my time.
I mean,
I got other bad things for you to waste your time on.
Well, let me stick with the one. I'll
Just the one.
happily add the one theoretical.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah, it's like so.
Don't
he
watch
woke
Dark.
me up and he's like, "Hey, you have to watch this movie." He's
I
like,
did. I got him out of bed. I was like, I went 5 minutes in. The sarcasm was so on point. I was like, no, I'm getting Javier up from bed. He's got to watch this with me.
and like, it's actually like a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't deserve a 6.1. I would say it's at least, due to dialogue, it's probably at least a high 7, if not an 8.
Yeah, to me it's a 7, 8, just dialogue.
It was a good
wise.
movie.
There's a little bit of Demolition Man in it, because there is the cryogenic, prison thing.
okay.
Yeah.
But that plays a small part into it.
I mean, hey, you guys are finding those hidden gems on Netflix.
Yeah, man. You don't find them a lot in Netflix originals.
I tried Underworld. Let's see, I turned it off like 3 minutes in. Underworld did not work for me.
Oh wait, is that
Underworld, the Kate Beckinsale vampires
It was
werewolf thing?
yeah.
Okay.
It just didn't work.
They made a lot of those, I think.
Yes, they did.
Isn't that like the Resident Evil thing that they tried to do? Or
They made a lot of them too.
I mean, they were parallels. Like they were coming out at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Resident
okay.
Evil with the wife insert.
Oh god. The only Resident Evil movie you need to watch, if you need to watch any of them, is the first one.
I
And
think
then just
they're
ignore the rest of them.
I think they're remaking them with a different director. I think.
Man, that's
Why would you want to follow that? I mean, it was just a made up storyline. It really had nothing to do with the games, other than occasional
Well, I mean,
characters would.
I don't see why you wouldn't want to follow it though. It's not really like you could do worse.
the first one was supposed to be a prequel to the first movie, but then they made a game that was a prequel to the first movie, the game. So anyway, the Resident Evil. Mila Jovovich is now making a Monster Hunter movie,
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
and but it's like they're Humvees in it, which
There's Humvees.
I've played a good chunk of Monster Hunter, and I've never seen a Humvee in it.
Monster Hunter World slaps. I need to get back to that game.
So, but I think it's like some kind. What was that dragon movie with Matthew McConaughey?
Rain of Fire.
Rain of Fire. I think it's like a Rain of Fire, like monsters come to modern day.
Matthew
thought that movie
McConaughey had
was
another
not
one on
good.
there where he was a bad guy.
I think I remember reading the the plot that they had released with the movie, or that was like leaked with the movie.
Dark Tower was
And
it?
I think it's a military unit gets sent into the Monster
Oh.
Hunter world, and I think that's what it is. Which
Okay.
still Humvees, why?
We'll see. Man. Anyway, Mike, what else? What else you got?
Sorry.
We go down this,
That's
this
fine, because like literally there was not an interesting story here for me. So, I mean, the only other thing I wrote down was that with the final actual release of the U.S. TurboGrafx Mini, the controllers are shipping, but not all of them. So I wound up ordering like every version you could buy. So the 3 different revisions of the 8-bit-do wireless pads and the wired turbo switch, white colored, because it's the only option they gave, even though you buy the only system that you can buy in the States. It's a black controller, but the only secondary controller you can buy is white, modeled after the PC Engine instead of the TurboGrafx. Why, I have no idea. But either way, it just magically disappeared off of I still have an order for it, but Amazon is listing it as let me pull it back up here. Currently unavailable. We don't know when or if this item will be back in stock. Well, they never shipped any, so it's really in the same boat as the unit itself. So I guess they're just delayed, but they haven't really announced anything.
Right. They haven't figured out what the actual next step is.
Yeah, but why the core graphics version of the 8-bit-do controllers are didn't ship either. I don't know, because the other one, I mean, they're exactly the same, and they shipped them to, influencers and stuff. There's videos on YouTube you can see. But I don't know. I guess there was a hiccup, but they didn't really announce anything for that either. But sadly, because I think that's the best looking one. In person, the TurboGrafx model looks a little bit better than the pictures, but it's very plain. There's no coloration on it at all. And then the PC Engine one looks pretty good too. But I don't like the buttons instead of switches for the Turbo. But that's really my only complaint, because they do feel nice. They're rounded in better ways than the original pads were, so they're a little more comfortable to hold, and they feel a little small. But I'll have to put them side by side with a regular pad. But yeah, I dig them. RetroArch doesn't recognize the button layout the same as the wired controllers, though, so I had to reassign all the buttons again. I don't know, it's bizarre.
I bet that's just a USB function, and they probably just addressed that on the emulator on the TurboGrafx.
It's possible. I don't know. I didn't even use the dongles. I just plugged it in with the cable, which that's the other thing. I was kind of disappointed. Instead of being a USB-C, they're USB minis or whatever, the B or whatever it's called, the one that PS4 and Xbox One controllers use.
Oh, they're micros. Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Minis is what PS3 uses.
PS3, yeah. I always got the name confused because it's an M either way, and they both mean small. So how am I supposed to know which one's which? Gotcha. But yeah, you would think everything should be using USB-C now at this point. So.
I love the different train of thoughts here, because you mentioned the button issue, and immediately the engineer, Tiny, goes to, I wonder why that's happening. That's probably happening because the backup converter pushes the inverter across the crossverter.
No.
And
someone is going to show up to ELU next year with one of those, and we're going to have to figure out how to support it.
Me, on the other hand, I'm like, I don't care why it's there, just get rid of it.
It's like, yo, that's weird. It's kind of whack, man.
But the other thing about it that's kind of makes it less useful for other things is, even though they are separate buttons, but they're buttons just the same as any other button on a controller. They're not like toggle switches or anything like that. They're still hardwired to be turbo of the button right below it. So you can't just assign it as, say, like an X and a Y button on Windows. So it makes the controller pretty worthless for anything other than TurboGrafx or original NES or maybe Master System or something.
Oh, wow. Someone's going to show up and be like, why can't I play Tetris with it?
And which controller is this?
These are the 8BitDo TurboGrafx / PC Engine modeled wireless controllers that just came out specifically for the Mini. But they're like, oh yeah, you can use it on the Switch, you can use it on the PC, you can use it on Android, whatever.
So the micro console for the TurboGrafx came out officially in North America on Friday. So this is the like the NES Classic or the SNES Classic or the PS1 Classic. And then 8BitDo made other controllers. But really, Mike, are they just repackaging the ones they did in other regions? Or are these actually 8BitDo?
Here you can buy all of them in the US. I don't know if they're selling them worldwide or not, but they're just, each one is theoretically modeled after one of the versions, either the PC Engine or the regular PC Engine, the Core Graphics color, or the TurboGrafx color. So it's just a preference. They all cost the same. They all feel exactly the same. They're all packaged exactly the same. But I dig it. So I'm glad I ordered them all, because if I had only ordered one, I would have ordered the Core Graphics one, and I would have gotten nothing.
No!
Oh no! You'd have to play your actual physical copies of these games.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah. So, anyway, that's my mini review of the mini console that isn't Mini's wireless controller options.
Well, that's also the crazy thing about this mini TurboGrafx, because it's only 10, maybe 15% smaller than the actual TurboGrafx.
Right. But it makes sense with the PC Engine and the Core Graphics, because those were always very small. How small do you want the thing to be, and how small could you make it and still put the PCB in that you're going to use, whatever. It makes sense. But you don't need to keep that same ratio for the TurboGrafx, which was unnaturally large for the US for no reason other than marketing. Like, oh, we can't, no one's going to buy it if it looks like, you know, a small little, like, you know, booklet or something. It's like, it has to be a giant. It's like if somebody could stand on it and still see and not see the thing, then it's too small. You have to make sure it's bigger than, you know, Shaquille O'Neal's, you know, boots or something. Like, I don't know. It didn't make any sense. It was unnaturally large. They changed the controller plug, like, for no reason other than it screwed everything up for, like, when they put out Street Fighter 2 and people wanted to import it, and they're like, well, then I also have to get the 6-button controller. Oh, but that doesn't work with the TurboGrafx, so I also have to buy an adapter for each of the controllers. And it's like, stop. You should have just put out a thing that could use all of the accessories that they sold in Japan, because eventually they did that with the Duo anyway when they released that in the US. So then you've got controllers that are incompatible with each other in the same region. Like, they screwed that thing from Jump Street. Like, it as much as I love the whole thing, it's...
Listen, perception doesn't have to make sense.
Well, it didn't work. I mean, that's the thing. It failed anyway. Like mass market.
My father-in-law is a brilliant guy, and actually he's on the patent for the cordless cell phones when they first got invented, cordless cell phones. And it's really funny because he was telling us, you know, back then, I think some of our listeners will be old enough to remember when AT&T actually had stores in the mall, you know, and you could buy like actual big home phones and everything. When the cordless phone came out, and again, their grandfather, my father-in-law, was on the patent. He helped develop this. They put the first batch of cordless phones in the stores. Nobody wanted to buy them because they were too light, and everybody thought they were cheap. Oh, like, this doesn't weigh anything. This is cheap, because they were so used to heavier things. Right. So the next batch, they actually put weights in them. Hey. And sent them out to the stores, and then people were like, oh, see, this is a nice, hefty, cordless phone. And then they slowly started taking the weights out of them to where we have the phones that we have today, you know, for the cordless phones that weigh nothing at home. But yeah, he said the first batch, they actually had to put weights in them because nobody wanted them. You know, so I said, perception doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the NES all over again. If you pop open an NES cartridge, half of it's empty.
True, but a big part of that was because Nintendo had to figure out a way to get it into stores that were reluctant to stock video games anymore. So they had to finagle their way.
But and you're going to make the argument that like the NES looks more like a VCR in North America or whatever, like a piece of home. But like the cartridge didn't need to be that big, because it was just going to go into the system anyway.
But it had to be something that, you know, uninformed parents would call tapes.
Fair.
Right.
Because you only put a tape into a VCR. You don't put a cartridge in. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, you're playing Nintendo. It doesn't matter what you're playing. You're playing
once they got through 1980s, you know, 5 test market era, then they were good to go anyway. Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't matter anymore. It was just, video games are back. Like,
guess who's back? Back again.
Gaming's back. Tell a friend.
Hey, I mean, PC was here all the time.
It was, absolutely.
So, Mike, do you have anything else?
No, I am good. Tiny, what have you been up to?
That's right. Well, the real Tiny, please stand up. Please stand up.
So Tiny's like, I don't want to stand up.
No.
It's like, why do you think I'm on my couch, man?
Exactly. This is where I now stream from. I don't have to. Anyway, I'm not sitting in a desk chair. It's great. But talking about tech stuff real quick. I turned on my 360 this week because I've been trying to find games to grab my attention because nothing's been really like doing it for me. And my account's signed out. My Xbox Live account's signed out. Like, I've changed the password since the last time I turned it on. So I try to authenticate. It just tells me bad password. I'm like, no. Like, I tested on Windows. It works fine. I go back. I realize the 360 can only take in 16 characters for a password, and my current password is 20 characters long.
Oh.
So, okay, cool. That's why it's giving me a bad password. I go and I'm like, should I change it or do I care? I ended up changing it, and it's like,
What'd you change it to?
We don't support two-factor authentication.
Nobody's listening.
So you said the 360 doesn't support.
My password. Now I realize what. Sorry, it took me a second. But anyway, so then once I am able to put in the whole password, it's like, oh, you have two-factor authentication turned on. 360 doesn't support two-factor authentication. You have to use a system password, which you generate through their website for systems that don't support two-factor. Okay. So now I'm generating a third password to put in, and I'm typing in on a controller. Like, this is so dumb.
That's what you get for trying to be secure.
Well, not only yes, but like, why do you put a character limit? And there were so many questions I had. So eventually I got it up and running, and I played through a couple games on my 360.
Played through? Wow.
We'll get there a little later.
Okay.
Nice.
But man, like
Man, video game consoles lately are just trying to thwart you with their internet, problems that only you are having. Because no one else is trying to run a 360.
Nobody else is trying to run a 20-word password. 20-letter password.
That's what I just use. The passwords come from my password vault. Like, I don't even know most of my passwords anymore. I know the one password to authenticate to my password vault. It holds everything else for me. So usually I could just copy and paste it in.
I have all mine written. No, I'm just.
No, you don't. You just make my head explode. So yeah, but like, you're doing this. The funny thing though is, because I couldn't type in all the characters, it just kept telling me bad password. So once I was able to put in a 12-character password, it's like, oh, well, I can't use this password anyway, so F you. You have to go generate this third kind of pattern. Like, whatever. Yeah, to use the 360. Though, Mike, I'll tell you this. I have now a new instance of that stupid data corruption error on PS4.
Uh-huh.
I can't download Warzone.
Okay.
I get like 20 gigs in, and it's like, data corrupted.
Can you do the thing where you start it with your phone again?
I can, but I don't know how much of it needs to download, and I don't pay for my phone, so...
Right. Well...
I don't need my company coming back and being like, hey, why'd you download 50 gigs of a game on...
But this, again, this is just because of the way you're... Is it the router, or you're like...
No. So well, okay.
You can tell them it's for research.
Yeah.
I 100% could, but except for who knows who'll see this podcast. So, if my theory is correct, which it's potentially could not be, but it seems like it's a problem between Sony's content distribution network (CDN) and Verizon, and it could as simply be the speeds of the network. That, because if you go and look data corruption error for PS4 up on like Reddit and their forums and whatnot, it's just happened to people randomly. In almost every instance that's shown, they're like, "Who's your provider?" "Oh, it's Verizon." So it's super weird, but it only happens on like one game per console. So
just randomly picks a game.
Let's go, Sony.
So for the last 6 months, I've been struggling to get Spider-Man to update on PS4. And I had to eventually start the download on one network, change over to my phone for 20 megs, and then change back over. And it worked fine. Because, so the one thing to realize for PlayStation 4 is the updates aren't a single file. They are generally file folders or some kind of file structure. So, like, it was just hitting one file, and for some reason that file was corrupting during the update. And it's super weird. But it's such a small use case. It appears from what I can see on like their forums and on they're like, I rebuilt this PlayStation 4 probably 6 or 7 times. I replaced the hard drive. I reinstalled the software. I reinstalled the OS. Nothing fixed it. And it's not this PS4 because everything in this PS4 had been replaced. It's just a rant, like it's some kind of network conflict between, like I said, Sony, CDN, and
Why
Verizon.
can't we be friends?
And like I can't bring this PS4 over to my like parents' house or to a friend's house because they all have Verizon. So like I have to go find someone with Comcast to be like, hey, let me borrow
Just ship
50
it to
gigs.
me.
I was just gonna say, just come to Florida.
Yeah, ship it to us. We'll get it done for you.
So
We'll put it on the list with the other like 10 Xbox Ones and like.
We have 300 download right
Yeah.
after we restart our router.
I mean, it just means I'll play Call of Duty on Xbox. That's fine. I'm good.
Listen,
I mean,
we have both, and we have everything. When it
Those
comes to
triggers.
shooters, Xbox One is much better for me for shooters. Fighters are better for PS4, and it has nothing to do with the system. It has everything to do with the controller.
It's
The D-pad on the PS4 controller is much better for fighters. The triggers on the PS4 are garbage.
They are
So therefore, the
bad.
triggers for the Xbox One are better for shooters. So I usually play fighters on PS4, and again, shooters on Xbox. But really, has nothing to do with the system. Has everything to do with the controller.
No, you're 100% right. Like I like the offset joysticks for a shooter.
Yeah.
Versus having the DualShock kind of setup.
Yep.
But anyway, so this all is a long story of it took me like 2 hours to get my 360 to actually, and turning on my 360, I realized every time I download a free game from Xbox One for Games with Gold or whatever,
Right.
It apparently was also downloading it to the 360
or attempting to.
or attempting to, because
Right.
they were just I was going through the memory. And there's just partial downloads of all these games.
Oh no!
And I'm like, what the? Like, I also realized
That's only
apparently I left
happens
it-
if you leave it plugged in, of course.
I left a 256 gig drive in here, even though I sent someone a 512 Xbox hard drive. I should have
Nice.
created those.
I remember the original Xbox 360 like interface,
Oh,
like the
blades.
original home page. It was
Yeah, you need the blades.
it
You're
was
gonna
so
have-
different.
Oh, yes, and it could not sell you a lot of stuff, unlike our current systems.
Right. Right. You could access things like what disc is in the drive, and there's the Xbox Live Arcade. There's a settings menu also.
That's the
Let's
Game
about it.
Pass now.
Exactly, but I mean, like if you want to use your 360 or at least mine, for anything other than launching the disc that's in it, you're gonna wait 5 minutes for it to like queue up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have this many Xbox Live Arcade games. Like,
It sounds like my laptop.
it is slow.
Like 15 minutes later, my laptop's finally up. Yay.
It's
Gotcha.
so old.
So I mean, yeah, like granted, like this came out the year I graduated college. So no, year before I graduated college, 2005. So
2005.
We're talking about 15-year-old system.
Ooh.
So
I think I graduated in 2000 something.
Oh, I thought
Again?
that was a period.
No, I graduated multiple times.
Sometimes I question.
I graduated multiple times, so I lose track. So it's
Gotcha.
somewhere in there.
aside from that, real quick stuff. Stargirl premiered this week on CW. I like comic books, so I like comic book shows a lot.
How is it?
It's interesting. So it's not dark and gritty like Arrow or The Flash, like, oh, everything's terrible, blah, or Batwoman. But like it starts
Arrow
off,
started so good.
Arrow did start so good, but then like seasons 4, 5, and 6 are, oh, we shouldn't keep secrets from each other. I kept a secret. Oh, you betrayed us. Oh, let's be friends again.
It just
Gotta fill time somehow.
It got so CW like
My-
halfway through. Like I was like, yep, this is CW. Like,
My favorite scene in all of Arrow.
oh, I know where you're
is-
going.
So, I think it's far enough. Like
Yeah,
enough
there's
back.
no spoilers.
There's no spoiler. Yeah,
So, when she loses like the function in her legs, and then like she keeps on working on the secret thing to get like her walking ability back, and like things aren't going well between her and Ollie, yeah. So they get into an argument, and she's sitting in the wheelchair, and he's standing next to her, and she literally just... He doesn't know about this whole thing where she's trying to get her legs back. She just gets up and walks out of the apartment, and he's like just there, stuck, dumbfounded, like, what just happened? He's just watching her walk away.
And as I saw her walk away, so did I. I was I'm so done.
What? What is with this show?
She's walking away. I'm walking away. We're all walking away at this point.
Was she developed a microchip that would allow her spine to redirect. Man, there was some stuff. Well, and there's some stuff here too. Like this starts off. Because it's an origin story, essentially, this first episode for Stargirl, and she gets her powers from a staff that Starman, formerly, who before he was called Starman, was called the Star Spangled Kid.
He's pretty cool.
Was there? So like they show the JSA, and the JSA give them their ass kicked in the opening, and Joe McHale is Starman, and Luke Wilson is his sidekick called Stripes, which made more sense when he was the Star Spangled Kid. And then it's like, it's Courtney discovering the Star Rod and her powers. And then at the last moment, Luke Wilson shows up in his essentially Iron Man suit, which is Stripes, but it's an acronym. And it's like, I'm like, sweet, because I love power armor. But like, we'll see what happens, because it feels like it's going to be another Smallville. Like,
Smallville was gold.
Everyone's going to be related, and it's going to be like, oh, these are the kids of the supervillains that destroyed the JSA 30 years ago, and like it's going to be like a mixture of Smallville and Zoom, or I
think Smallville is the
Kurt
only
Russell superhero movie.
Smallville to me was gold. I loved Smallville.
It was like the only CW that I could sit through,
because there were so many other shows that started so well. I mean, I could literally just go through a list and be like, the 100. The 100 started so
I'm
well.
still watching the 100.
Oh, see, I lost it, man. I might have to try it again, but they lost me after they killed my man.
After the first season, I was like, for me, it just kind of went downhill. Like the second season was okay, but then the third season, after they went into caught up with the Mountain Men and stuff. Like, that's when I feel like it really, like, started to go, like, really downhill. And
they're not even on the same planet anymore.
Oh, really?
They're not even on the same planet?
See, when they killed the wannabe Vin Diesel, when they killed wannabe Vin Diesel guy, I don't even remember what his name was.
The guy who went to Gods and, no.
Yeah, he was like
American
a wannabe Vin Diesel dude. Anyway, after they killed him, it was like, it just started going downhill for me. But
see, I think he was good in like the first 2 seasons, but I feel like he was like too whiny and too preachy towards the end.
Was that Lincoln?
Yeah,
yes,
it's Lincoln. Yeah.
So I mean, hey, my joy right now I enjoy Legends of Tomorrow because I think it's a goofy show. But if you want a CW show to watch right now, Riverdale.
Oh, I can't.
A ridiculous show. And these kids just need therapy for living through all this. Like, people are dying left and right, and like, oh, what about prom? Like, what are you talking about? Talk about your guilt. Like, there was a joke scene, like, Jughead's writing a story, and there's a dead body, and the River Hill gang is there. It's Betty, Veronica, Reggie, Archie, and Jughead. And at one point, someone's like, well, who doesn't have experience disposing of a body? And everyone but Reggie raises their hand to say, oh, no, I've done it before. You're like, it's true. I've seen them all do it. It's really messed up. So, anyway.
Therapy.
But yeah, I mean, Stargirl, I check out Stargirl. I think it's fun. It's also on the DC Universe app. So if you don't have cable and whatnot, like, you can watch it there.
I can put that on my side screen when I'm working.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then the last thing, so I've been sending out game consoles and like packs of games to friends and family and whatnot, because like, hey, their kids are stuck at home and they don't have games. Like, here you go. And another person gave me a Wii. They're like, oh, it's been sitting in our basement. the disk drive ended up not working, so I hacked it this week, and then just installed Nintendo, which lets me use images of my GameCube games to play on there, and like that's great. Like you just put everything on an SD
Just do
card,
it.
just throw it on there.
we have.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So-
have one of those.
So yeah, so I mean, I mean, I've been hacking Wii's forever, but like this is the first time I've played around with GameCube games on it, and
Sunshine.
I think that's the only Wii we still have. Like, we got rid of most of the other ones, but we have one modded with all the GameCube stuff on it.
I think people have given us like 4. I think we're back up to like.
they just come and like people are like, here you go. This is.
They're like, you're a gamer. You like this
Exactly.
game
Well-
console, don't you?
Well, also I try to refurbish them, and like some of the satellite sites for the hospital will take them. The course hospital can't take them. Like
Right.
there's a whole discussion of like decontamination and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Got to be new.
But like we can put them out to some of the satellite sites. But like I think at one point I had like 5 or 6 Wii's. I now only have this one that doesn't have. They'll come back after everything.
Right.
But like I had to pull out the Wiimote from the Legend of Zelda set, the gold one, because
Mhm.
that was the only Wiimote I could find in the house right now.
Nice.
So, which I'm like, oh, this is probably losing value every time I touch it. So, but anyway, let's. I didn't pull feedback, and that's okay. We'll get to it next week. So for people that did tweet and whatnot, I apologize. We will
Feedback.
So, but let's talk about games we played, and I'll open it up to you guys.
We are going to be attacking one of my favorites. We're going way back. When you follow or sub to our Twitch, you see it. We're going way back to Toe Jam and Earl.
Okay, is
but-
that why your emotes?
Well, we've always had those, but
Okay.
now with Toe Jam and Earl back in the groove, Javier and I
Yeah.
are going to set the world record
We're gonna do it.
for speedrun, for 2-player speedrun for that game.
Okay.
And I am very, very confident about this. It has nothing to do with the fact that nobody's done it yet.
No, absolutely no.
So all we got to
Nothing
do is
to
just
with it.
finish it, and once we finish it, we'll have the world record.
Yeah.
So because nobody has actually submitted one, so
All we gotta do is submit it and get it authenticated.
yeah, we just got to finish. So we're
Time to
going
see
for
you
the
guys
world
on-
record.
Awesome games done quick next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's in your backyard now.
I mean,
So
I don't know
move from
about
DC
done
to Florida.
quick, but we're gonna have the world record since nobody else has done it. But it won't necessarily be quick, but it will be
Let's go, GDQ.
a world record. What else have we been playing? I know I've done some Call of Duty. We got Call of Duty tournament coming up with Microsoft, so I'm really excited about that. We did a test run last week of 2v2 gunfight with 4 teams. So we're gonna open it up to 16 teams. Well, I'm excited about that, and we're gonna do like round robin for in four teams round robin, and first and second place go into top 8 bracket. First place on the winner side, second place on loser side. And that's going to be fun. So we've been playing that.
He's been addicted to Animal Crossing.
I have
Yes.
been playing Animal Crossing quite
That's
a
all I
bit.
have to say.
I do have. Javier's like, I want to buy that, but I don't have that kind of money. I was like, I'll get it for you. He's like, you're sure you have enough money? I'm like, I got 19 million bells. Yeah, I can afford it.
Okay.
Well, you did the social media post for the guitar.
That was really cool, and I got a really, really cool photo of that. So, I really needed help with that because what happens is I only had access to one style of guitar, and there's a bunch of different guitars in different colors. So I wanted to get all the different styles and colors so I could make a really cool post because we are doing one of our major sponsors is Replay Guitar Exchange, and we're doing an event with them, and we're doing a couple things. But one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be giving away a real guitar.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make a Animal Crossing room that just had all kinds of guitars and amps and just everything, that they have in the store. I actually made my character a Replay Guitar Exchange shirt and a hat for it and everything.
They have a lot of cool stuff. Like a lot of really cool stuff, like this included.
Yeah. We just got an ukulele. Elvis Presley Hawaiian ukulele. Yeah. So we just got that. But yeah, so we're going to be doing that with them. We haven't decided exactly how we're going to do it, whether it's going to be something really simple, or we even talked about doing a Guitar Hero tournament. And the winner of the Guitar Hero tournament would actually win a real guitar. So we got some really cool ideas going on. Yeah. But as far as games that we've been playing, like I said, I've been playing Call of Duty. I haven't been playing it as much. I've been playing more. I did play Warzone that one time, and I won, of course.
Valorant.
I'm 100% right now.
Retire on top.
I am 100% batting average on that. And what else have I played? Toe Jam.
He's been playing a lot
Forza Motorsports. I mean, but that's my game. Forza Motorsports has always been my game. I play that one every Thursday.
You've been playing the new NFL.
I played a little bit of the NFL. Madden 2020.
Go back to Forza real quick. You've been doing like a Forza thing for...
I've been playing Forza for over 10 years now, every week. We have a team that we race every week, every Thursday night, from kind of all over. We have New York, we have Texas, Canada, and I mean Prince George, Canada. He's like way towards the top left-hand corner. Like if it gets too cold, he can just walk over to Russia. Because it'll just freeze over, just walk across. He's way up there. But yeah, I've been racing with these guys. It's really, really cool and really frustrating at the same time because depending on the track and circuit, I'm in the top 1 to, like, the worst I do is top 3% in the world. But I race with guys who are like
top 0.1.
Yeah, top like 0.5%. And so whenever we have like local tournaments, Microsoft will have an event and they'll have a Forza tournament, and I'll show up and I'll win, and everybody's like, "Great, we're running for second again." And then I show up, I win everything, I take it home, I like celebrate, like, yeah, I got all this free stuff from the store, and then I come home and I play online with these guys, and they're like, "Great, I'm in the middle of the pack again." It's like, I guess I'm just average again. I go from being really good to, like, I guess I'm just average in this room, But those are the guys I've been racing with. And most of them are, I think the youngest guy that races with us is Pesky, and I think he's 28. So most of these guys I race with are...
He's probably 30 now, because I think you've been saying that he's 28 for
he
3
could be
years.
In his 30s now. But most of them are in their 40s, 50s. We got a couple of older guys. Old Man Oil, I think, is 80 years old now. But he still races and does really well. Also, I'm still racing with my controller. A lot of these guys have the full setup with the car seat and the steering wheel and 3 monitors. I'm still playing. With a big old screen and lag and so I guess I could probably compete a little bit better if I actually came into this room and played on the competitive.
We got a new monitor though.
We do have a new monitor, which is really, really cool.
The only problem with the new monitor, I need to look it up, but like it keeps setting the
colors,
the color back to the vibrancy of the colors,
like the warmth or whatnot.
Yeah, like
it just automatically goes back.
It just goes back up. Like I keep putting it down, and then it keeps going back up, and I'm like. Why do you do this to me?
But yeah, so Forza's my game. That is the one game that I'm actually good at. The rest of them I enjoy. I play games. I mean, it's funny because I got into the video gaming late because I grew up playing basketball. I mean, I played 2 hours of practice for 2 hours before school, and I practiced another 4 to 6 hours after school. So I didn't have time to play video games. I mean, I was hardcore basketball, and then when I broke my leg and I lost, my scholarship, and all long story short, I was already a few years into college, and I was like, I still had that competitive edge that I needed to compete somewhere, and then I found out, wait, I can compete in video games, because, my leg was, like I said, I couldn't compete anymore because of my leg, but when I found out I could compete in video games, I was like, it brought me in hardcore, and again, that's why I like Forza, because I get to compete. I like anything where I get to compete, whether I'm good at it or not. That's why there are certain games that I know are amazing games, but they're one-player games, and like,
It's just not for you.
no,
Yeah.
I need to beat someone,
Oh.
or even lose to somebody. I just need to compete, and I recognize that those games are really good, but just I'll never finish them.
Speedrunning might be for you.
Yeah. Now, speedrunning I don't mind because, again, I'm trying to beat
Yeah,
someone.
you're trying to beat someone.
Right.
As long as I'm trying
At
to
that
beat
point,
someone.
you're also not paying attention to the story.
No. But I like story games, but only because of the story.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like, that's more like watching a
He's-
movie to me. Like,
He's
Kingdom
the person
Hearts,
that plays it on easy.
Yeah, I will definitely play all my story games on easy. Because I literally just want to get through it and watch the storyline. I'm watching a movie now at this point,
Sure.
And,
I can relate to that.
And I get a little bit of action because, again, for me, playing games is a getaway. I don't want to be frustrated, Listen, I don't want to be frustrated. I'll just look at my bills. I don't need to play video games. So that's why I'll play storyline games definitely on easy. Just unless they're like, oh, if you play on easy, you won't get,
Blah,
this
blah,
part
blah.
of the story. So
Yeah.
some games will do that. They're like, nope, you need to play at least on normal in order to get the full story. I'm like, okay. Other than that, just put me on easy. I'll go through it. Let's go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway,
What
so
about
that's
you? I know you brought up Apex and you brought up.
Yeah, I was trying to think about like what I'd been doing recently. A lot of it has just been Apex. Like,
Hey.
no.
listen
He's
your
lying
house
to you.
trans music
oh
and-
no,
He's lying to you. I'm calling it out here on the podcast, on the Twitch,
Okay.
on the
No.
everything. I will tell you what Javier plays. I will tell you what Javier, what David, what Oranges, and what Mozzarella play. The four of them. They go out of their way to play the worst games ever.
we
See?
played Street.
Listen, they
This
play
is-
bad
this isn't
games.
the-
They play
this
bad
isn't a
co-op
bad
games.
game.
No,
This is really
no, you
good.
play bad co-op
Well, yes,
games.
but I'm talking.
I look at the screen and I see stuff
I'm
on the
talking
screen
about
that
the
I
game-
don't even understand.
See, but this game I'm gonna
What was
say
what's
isn't
the
a bad
stick fight
game.
thing? What was that
Oh,
thing?
Stick Fight's a great game.
Oh my goodness, it looks so bad.
Stick Fight is an
Oh, it's
amazing
fun.
game.
It is a fun game.
It's
Yeah.
it's bizarre at best. But
But,
I mean, what are some of the games you play? I know you play.
We every once in a while I'll just log into Steam and I'll get like this really bad message from my friend Oranges, and it'll just be like, "Hey, we're playing this tonight."
Yeah.
All four of us. Like we bought. There's one game on Steam. It was like 4 games for $2.
Yeah, that's what they play a lot.
And it was called Dino Hunt, and it looked like it was
Okay.
like one of the early Unity games where there's like not really much, but there's like badly textured hills and stuff. There's like a few trees, and then there's just badly coded velociraptors running at you, and you have to shoot them, and then they explode into like a million pieces, and then you're like, there are too many pieces for that to actually come from the velociraptor.
How many
There
red
is
things
more
do you
mass
have?
in those little pieces than there was in the entire
It's,
velociraptor.
it's hysterical to watch them because,
But,
like I said, I sit
um,
on the other side of the room and I can watch the screen, and I'm just watching the madness. It's
A lot of times we even stoop so low as to find like bad games in Roblox.
yes,
So, okay, so the weird thing about Roblox is there are lots of bad games, but a lot of them have good ideas. Like, it's a
Take your
game
word
that
on
has
it.
lots of potential, but it's just coded really terribly. It's like, I see where you're going with this, but this is not what you wanted.
There was a will, but there wasn't a way.
There was no way.
I see David just literally just click on stuff like, oh, that one looks really bad. Let's try that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's David. David goes out of his way to see which ones are bad.
But
Well,
the new Streets of Rage is really
You started this whole thing, and you said Streets of, and then stopped.
Streets of Rage.
good. Streets of Rage. The new Streets of Rage is really, really good.
Okay, I was like, wait, are we gonna talk stuff on Streets of Rage 4? Because I already did. So
Yeah.
I'm the villain of the group because I'm like, it's a beat 'em up. It's okay.
It's much better when you don't have Team Attack on.
But they
I-
play
I
with
s-
Team Attack.
I speak because I am the person
Yeah.
who would get comboed because I'm the only careful person in the group, at least when it comes to this game. So I would just get comboed or like hit from across the stage because somebody throws a random like sword at me and I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'm dead now."
My teammate killed me again.
Like, I'm at 0 lives and, like, almost dead, and everyone else is at, like, you still have 2 lives left. And I'm like, can you guys please stop hitting me? I was the only one that was dying due to team attack. Everybody's like, let's just punch this dude. I have to fight my friends and the enemies.
This is really calling into question all that money you won at different ELUs.
It's...
Maybe you're not that good at games.
Intelligence
I mean,
hysterical to
I didn't
watch.
win anything this year, so...
This year gets an asterisk next to it, just like Evo Online. So, which I am shocked Evo Online does not have Power Rangers at it. Like, I'm sure it's because
feels
of, like,
bad.
the tournament stuff.
That game's fun and good.
Like, yeah, like it's good netcode and it's fun. Like, I'm shocked Power Rangers isn't there. Anyway, okay, Mike, what about you, bud?
So the I have been playing a lot of we said it so many times, the Call of Duty Battle Royale mode.
Warzone.
Sorry. But I mean, I've talked about it so much, it's like whatever. The only other things that I've been playing are other games that are Game Pass Quest games. So I like for, I forget if it was a weekly or a monthly, whatever, was a Zoo Tycoon. I was like, why would I ever play Zoo Tycoon? But whatever. It was, the challenge was clean up 15 pieces of poop. So I'm like, that can't be that hard. Let me look up the guide.
Oh, no.
And they're just like, make your zoo. Don't hire any zookeepers because they'll clean it up for you. And then just
wait.
litter the zoo with animals. Just keep packing the animals in. And I was like, all right, I can do that. And it got me to try the game out. I wasn't playing it seriously, obviously, as I've described.
It sounds
but,
like David.
I still built a zoo, and since I had to wait for the animals to take a crap, I was putting down like food vendors and like fountains and stuff just cuz. I was like, you know what? This is a competent game. Like, it's not really for me, but for a sim type of game that you're playing with a gamepad, for people who are into that kind of thing, this seems all right. Like,
So David, my other son, he actually would play this game. He would make all the food and the water free, and then he would charge people to use the bathrooms.
Dastardly.
did the happiness meter go up or down?
Way down. But that also went down when he would put like the deer and the lions in the same cage too. Like, he
I
just-
wondered why they let you do that, because it's like,
It's just
does
not,
that,
it's not gonna end
you know,
well.
And
like-
at some point in time, he just take all the fences down and just let the animals run wild through the zoo.
At least they censor the carnage with like
Yeah.
cartoony dust, like
And we only know
Dust
this
clouds.
because, like I said, David would literally just release all the animals. Just at some point, he was going to release them all.
the only thing I remember about playing Zoo Tycoon as a kid was I thought I was really funny, and I had porpoises. The porpoises were my main attraction. And I remember,
Have you ever had all water animals?
I did have a lot of water animals.
You
it was
mean
kind of
SeaWorld
weird.
is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically.
But-
David had all the carnivore animals that when he'd released,
I
they'd eat
had
all the
lots
people.
of
Javier
dinosaurs,
just had
though.
dinosaurs and fish.
Okay.
I did. But I remember I named my first porpoise Michael Jackson because it was black and white.
You were really
I
happy
thought
with
I was a
yourself.
really funny kid, okay?
You were real happy with
It was,
yourself.
it was when the song came out.
It was.
It didn't matter if you're black or white.
Oh, man.
Javier always did that, though, because you had that... No, David had that panda. David had a panda stuffed animal. He called him Express.
He did call him Express.
So it's always been yeah, sorry.
I think a lot of my animals were just named after musicians.
Yep.
I'm
Fact.
just saying, it doesn't sound like the Apple Falls Star.
No.
Oh, no.
I don't remember
Okay,
naming
so
any
Mike, so you were
animals,
playing.
but-
This is Zoo Tycoon. This is the launch game for the Xbox One.
Oh yeah, I guess
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I already actually owned it anyway because it was like free in some other region in the world. So all you had to do was like create a, I don't know, Australian account or something like that, and you know,
Gotcha.
so I've had it for free the whole time, and I've never fired it up because I just want to make sure
Because he's
if
not
something's free-
Australian, so you hadn't
I'm not-
fired it up.
Well, I'm not. Well, no, but you can run it on your own account.
Yeah.
Once it's on your like system, you're good to go. But like it's
Do
like
you have
I
to
only
speak
wanted
Australian to the Connect?
they.
He has to hang it upside down.
You don't need accents to. But it was that's just one of those things where if it's free, I feel like I'm missing out unless I add it to my account. If I waste the time in playing it, then that's when I'm the one losing. But if right anyway. So I tried like when you quote unquote adopt a new animal and then it's airlifted in, it's like the antelope gets airlifted right into the lion's mouth. It's like, yes, I just adopted this thing.
Wait.
Great.
So does
I'm going to be
It's like
adopting
Jurassic
a
Park.
snake later. So
Right.
does like the Australian version of Zoo Tycoon, do they add ground harnesses too?
It's literally the exact same software. Actually, I assume it is because I never installed it. How about that? So yeah, another one was Dishonored 2 was another quest thing, and it was collect like 50 pieces of gold. And I looked up a thing, and it's just like, all right, here's how to do it in under a minute. Make sure to hold X through all the cutscenes. As soon as it starts, turn around, jump out the window, climb through another window, open this thing. Here you go. Open this cabinet, open this cabinet, open this cabinet. There you got it. And I got my quest, and I uninstalled the game. I was like,
just to be
fantastic.
clear, you downloaded this like 30 gig game.
Oh yeah, but I downloaded it like the day before,
Okay.
so I didn't sit and stare at a meter just to do this. You know what I mean? I clicked it. I went to bed. The next day, it was there. I could do my quest, not including load times. I knocked it out in like 4 minutes.
Mike, I guess in my head, I just still think of your old crappy internet.
Oh yeah. No, if I had caps,
So,
I'd be like, well, Game Pass, you were nice in theory.
What do you even get from Game Pass quests?
Like sort of money, but it's like pennies, and eventually it adds up to dollars. And then
So
can
if you
use
do
those
enough
dollars.
quests for the next 10 years, you could buy like half a game.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got like $11 worth of money out of this.
By jumping out of windows.
He's already been at this for 3 years now.
Actually, I've only been doing these quests for a short time, but like when you first open your because you can use Bing to
Yeah.
like search stuff, all that. It's all the Microsoft Rewards thing. And I started this whenever they opened it, and I earned whatever. Like they'll give you a bonus, like sign up the first time, and here's like 5,000 points or something. That's like
Oh,
$5.
sick.
So I don't know. It's just a thing to do. I don't even know why I'm doing it, but
well, but
one of the. Go ahead. What's that?
I was going to say it also kind of, let's say, relates into how like you, Aaron, I, BC Turp, all of our friends, all the GameEnthus people and friends, got together because we all met through Cheap Ass Gamer. Probably, God, it's over a decade ago now.
Sure.
So like this behavior
2007-ish.
speaks to the level to the behavior of gaming of people we know. Like this is the same idea as, hey, let's go into Circuit City and buy all the copies of whatever.
Hey man, I remember a literal black trash bag that I had full of games at the Circuit City that were $5 a piece, that were all still labeled $50, but they all rang up $4.99. I'm like, yeah,
let's go.
Go to town.
Like, yeah, this was, I mean, this is actually how I first got into Extra Life, because I was there for the game drive that year. It was like, cool, we have more than enough extra games to send in, because we just keep like, oh, here's Tony Hawk Project 8, because I bought 8 copies of those to bring them down to these guys.
I found a Target that had like a dozen of them, and I was like, who wants this? And everybody was like, yeah, I'll take one. All right. They were like, I don't know, $4 each or something, whatever. And I don't think I even bought one for myself. Like, I didn't care. But the last one I played, which was also a Game Pass, Quest, but I have already bought the game twice, including the DLC and everything. That's Shadow of War, because I really like Shadow of Mordor. Like, that was my borderline game of the year. Like, the only reason it wasn't game of the year when it came out is because I like Titanfall so much. But I hadn't finished Shadow of Mordor when we did our game of the year. So by the time I did it, I'm like, I probably would have swapped it anyway, because I really liked it. I really liked the DLC. But when this came out and I started it, I don't know. I think the character model definitely got like bunged up a little bit. Like he looks rough now, and I don't know why. Just like something went wrong here and you didn't fix it. And it doesn't help that they show the exact same cutscene from the first game right before it, so you can compare them very easily. And like, something just went awry. But also, it's nothing about it grabbed me. The story just seemed like, here's a really weak way of saying why you're still half dead and still working with this ghost who happened to be the guy who forged the one true ring or whatever. I'm like, I don't know, but the gameplay is really still the same for the most part. So the quest was kill 75, and I'm like, I can do that. And when I got into it, I'm like, I remember why this was so fun. I mean, when you build up these combos and you start unlocking some of these abilities, and when you're like I've gotten to the point where I can build up a combo and I can insta-kill one guy until I get to the next one. But like, I keep thinking about, I remember in Mordor when I had the thing, I could insta-kill up to 2, and then I could get that meter up faster. And it's like I could take like 3 or 4 swings, and then I could chop one dude's head off, and then like put a knife through another dude's neck. And then all I got to do is like turn around and hit one other guy, and then I can like explode somebody else's head with my mind. It was like, man,
I just like the fact that he said like he's bought this game at least 2 times already or something like that.
Well, I bought it for PlayStation 4. I played through Mordor on PS4, and I was like, I'll just buy it again on PS4. But then like after I bought it and started playing it, all the reports were like, it runs better on Xbox. So when that went on sale with the like day one whatever edition that came with all the DLC, I was like, it costs just as much to re-buy it as it would have cost me to just buy the DLC. So I just bought the Xbox version with the codes, and then sold the PS4 version.
I think the game I bought twice was
you bought it more than twice.
Was,
you bought that game at least 4 times.
What's the name of it?
Crackdown,
the original Crackdown. So to give you a little explanation, you remember when GameStop would run these dumb things like bring in 5 games and you get an extra $10 trade?
Sure.
So I was like, I like this game Crackdown, but I only have 4 games to trade, so I traded in Crackdown. I got an extra $10, and then I bought it back for $1.98.
That was a game series that went awry. Like, the first Crackdown was a masterpiece. The second Crackdown was okay. The third Crackdown, I don't even know what they were going for. Like, I was so hyped for the third Crackdown, I'm like, you know what? Maybe they listened to what the people said about the second one, and you know what? Maybe they made it better. Let's hope they return to their original formula. And then they went even farther. They're like, hey guys, we heard all that you said. but we're just gonna make a game that barely even looks like Crackdown anymore, and then that's what we're gonna release. After we teased it in 2012, and now you're getting it in 2019. It only came out last year, didn't it?
I think so.
2018 through
Wow,
2019.
yeah.
It's like 7 years in the making, and it's worse.
Well, seven problematic years.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a mess, but I enjoyed Crackdown 3 plenty. I liked it a lot more than 2. I thought 2 was...
Oh, it's definitely better than 2.
Like, just because of the whole freaks thing, it was just a dumb idea.
It's weird.
Like, so, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't great, but it was
No.
it was a game I completed. I had fun with it.
Was there an Xbox Game Quest for it?
There might have been, but I wasn't paying any attention at that time. I don't know.
Complete the game.
Usually those quests are things you can
Yeah.
do in short periods of time.
Pretty quick things.
But yeah, that's really what I've been playing.
What about you, Dave?
I'll
Let's see what Tiny's been playing here.
be quick. I decided to play a Transformers game this week. So I played the third. Well, technically, it's the second game of the release, but it's the third Transformers game from High Moon Studios. They did War for Cybertron and also Fall of Cybertron.
Yeah.
But they also did Dark of the Moon.
Dark of the Moon was the name of the game?
Dark of the Moon is the name of the game.
Are you sure?
I literally have the case.
What was the name of the movie?
Well, Revenge of the Fallen is the movie you're
Oh,
thinking
look at
of.
this.
Well, that's the second one.
Dark of the Moon is the third one.
Yeah.
Look at that. We got games.
So there's Dark of the Moon.
The Cybertron ones were amazing, though.
They are, and there's a lot of, while this uses like movie Transformers and whatnot,
Yeah.
there's a lot of those games in here.
Mhm.
So like you're transforming very quickly. There are dedicated driving sections. You're using different. You're going between Decepticons and Autobots based on the mission you're doing. So like, if you have not played this yet, you could probably pick it up for like $. It was 6 hours. I played through it. And it's weirdly a prequel to the movie of the same name.
Yeah.
So this is the one where they like destroy Chicago, and
Right. Okay. So that was I'm looking at
Ultra
the
Magnus?
movie. The third movie is called Dark of the Moon.
yeah, third
Okay.
movie is Dark of the Moon.
That's why I was like, I'm confused. But anyway, go ahead.
But because is it Ultra Magnus that Spock that Leonard Nimoy voiced?
No, that was Robert
No.
Stack. Leonard Nimoy was Galvatron in the '86 movie.
Right, but in Fall of the Dark of the Moon, he is an Autobot that betrays them. Is it?
Oh, really? I don't know. Those movies are terrible.
Anyway,
Have you guys
So-
seen the old Transformers movies?
oh yeah,
Mike is a huge Transformers fan.
but only the old stuff.
How do you feel about Hot Rod? I feel
He's
like I'm the
fine.
only person who doesn't like Hot Rod.
Nah, he's fine. I mean, you know, if you're talking about like the '86 movie, it's just he was the. I mean, it's hard to really make a good argument that he had nothing to do with Prime's death, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. It was like, look, that you just at some point just have to admit this was all just to sell new toys.
Yeah.
The new toys were garbage, and you know, I really liked what they did, like post movie as far as the general themes.
Yeah.
A lot of the episodes are actually really bad, but like this general concept of, you know, things can be like a total mess, and we're still, you know, like dealing with ghosts of Transformers and stuff. It was like, man, this is like you know, fourth dimensional here.
Listen, I got a good trivia question for you. Random vehicle voice trivia. Do you
Okay.
know who did the voice for Knight Rider, the vehicle?
It's Mr. Feeney.
It is
yeah.
Mr. Feeney.
I don't know the actor's name. But...
It's
Yeah, I don't
Mr.
remember.
Feeney.
I don't think anybody knows him as anything other than Mr. Feeney.
Feeney. That's right.
Was he in the Girl Meets World show?
I don't know if he was in the girl, but he was
I
the
think-
Boy Meets World for sure.
I think he made an appearance in Girl Meets World.
Okay.
I know,
But I don't think it
Wizard
was for more
World
than
just
an
did
episode.
a Boy Meets World like reunion, and they
Oh,
were
yeah.
supposed to do it physically, but obviously that's not happening this year. So they did it as like a online thing. So But I mean, so part of the reason that I went back to Transformers is because I keep watching this YouTube series, The Basics, where this guy like does like a 10 or 20-minute video on like, hey, here's everything to know about, let's say Hot Rod, Rodimus Prime, from all the different generations of Transformers and whatnot. And like, I'll just put that, much like Angels, like I watch bad Netflix, I'll have this on in the background just to have like voices talking in the background.
Right.
And I'll pick up like, I'm sorry, they did what now? Like he released one today about RC. And
Oh, yeah.
like, RC has the weirdest backstory.
It really
because
does.
like people at one point, some of the Transformers people writing it were like, "There's no female Transformers." So then it was problem.
Yeah, I don't know the origin of that, but like she was not the first female Transformer in the series.
Yeah.
Well, so she was developed. So according to this, she was developed first, but
Because the movie took a while to come out.
Right, and so, but because they developed, so one of the writers for the movie said, "Hey, we need to make one because my daughter likes Transformers, but she doesn't see any female." But while the movie was in production, they introduced female Transformers into the cartoon because of RC. But then in the Marvel comic in the U.S., they said, "Oh, actually, Transformers have no gender."
Yeah.
But then the UK said, "No, you're dumb. That's a dumb thing to say." And like it goes places. So like if you check it, if you type in the basics Transformers on YouTube, you'll see it. And this guy's been doing this for years now. And it's in-depth research. He's pulling out like, oh hey, they had an RC toy made for the movie, but Hasbro's like, oh, it won't sell enough. So she is the only new Transformer from that movie that didn't get a toy.
Right.
And
not at the time.
She
no.
wouldn't get a toy until like 2010.
Right. Right.
And the first toy she got she was a spider because it was just a recolor of Arachne. Anyway. So yeah.
So okay. So Tiny, this is the thing that threw me off because when you said, not just because it was the name of the movie, but the crazy thing is, so High Moon Studios made War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron.
Yes.
But then they got shifted over and basically, I assume, were told, hey, you're making the movie game this time, Dark of the Moon. But the third game in that actual series is made by Edge of Reality called Rise of the Darkspark.
That's the one on this generation.
It is.
Mike, I'll blow your mind here.
It's on both.
Is it on last gen?
Yeah, it says Windows, 3DS, PS3, 4, 360, 1, and Wii U.
So, okay. So just to I watched a quick look at that recently. Anyway, it's actually it's War for Cybertron. Then they made this game. Then they made Fall of Cybertron. So this game actually came out in the middle of the Cybertron series.
Fall of Cybertron had such good online. Like,
yes. Oh, it was a ton of fun.
It was so good.
So I just can't figure out. I own War for Cybertron on PS3, but then I bought Fall of Cybertron on Xbox. I don't know what I was doing. Anyway, so I played through that. Like I said, it was about 6 hours. It's all movie characters, so if you don't like the movie design, it's probably not for you. But it is a prequel to the movie, so like it is not dealing with any of the dumb stuff that's in there. It's more like, hey, we have to protect the humans, and by the end, Shockwave shows up.
Jeez, according to Wikipedia, the Dark of the Moon game came out before the Fall of Cybertron.
Right, but
yeah,
after War for Cybertron.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I thought you said
it's
after Fall, but okay. Anyway, go ahead. Yes, meaning what I said was incorrect in the order of events.
So, but anyway, so that one, like I said, 6 hours. Give it a shot. Like, I mean, I enjoyed it. And I don't know. I don't really want to go watch the movies, but I have been trying to figure out where you could watch them.
Just watch Bumblebee. It's the only one worth watching.
Bumblebee was fun. Like,
Bumblebee was good.
I didn't
care for it.
all of them in theaters other than Bumblebee.
If I'm
someone clapped at the end of the last one, and they said it's because it was done. Like, the movie had finished, so they were just clapping because they were free. So, like, I mean,
they were
like, that's yeah, like, it's a anyway. So yeah,
it says now I'm looking at High Moon Studios. It says they worked on this version of Modern Warfare.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've become a support studio inside.
Yeah.
Which, again, when everyone gives EA stuff about, like, how many studios they've closed down, but then no one talks about what Activision has done with, like, just ripping studios apart so they become Tony Hawk and Guitar Hero and Call of Duty studios.
We miss Pandemic.
It's such a weird, like, double standard. So, anyway, the other stuff I've been playing, I started Alpha Protocol, which is, oh my god, I'm glad I have the box next to me. Obsidian, that's it. Obsidian Entertainment, it's an RPG. It's a spy RPG. So, like, you have to customize your character on, like, approach styles like stealth or suave or like, just guns blaze. There's an awful lot of jank to it. Like, this game probably came out 6 months too early. But it's still a lot of fun. It's kind of the same disconnect that Mass Effect 1 had. And I was listening to a podcast last week, and someone made the reference that, like, it's essentially a Mass Effect 1 clone, but as a spy game. Because, like, when you shoot, you feel you're targeting the person, but there's a dice roll in the background that determines if you hit or not. So it's a disconnect between what you're doing versus what's actually happening.
That's weird.
Which is a lot like Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, which is it's
which I liked. That's what I liked about Mass Effect 1. You didn't even need to aim. You just, like, once your skill level was high enough, it's just like, I'm getting headshots with this sniper, and it's not, like, it's still on my back.
Right, but during those early hours, you're like, oh man,
the first time I had to shoot at somebody with a sniper, and like, the only chance that I had was I hid behind a box and found a seam in between polygons, and I was able to aim through that, and I just kept shooting until I finally hit him. That was it.
But so I mean, I started it. I'm about probably halfway through if the the save percentage is anything to go by. It's still a fun game, like, and you can get it on Steam for cheap, and there are patches to help with some of the jank. But, like, I was listening to US Gamer, and they put this on their, like, top 100 games to play, and I was like, okay, I'm not doing anything right now. This will be my next game to play. And then did anyone remember they made a Choplifter HD?
What for?
I think I remember seeing that it was
PS3
a thing.
and Xbox 360.
I think I remember seeing the name.
So Choplifter, like, is a classic game. I had it on the Apple II back in the day. Like, it's a great, like, essentially you're just, in the old game, you are a helicopter made of, like, I don't know, 9 pixels. And you're literally flying over to save POWs. You land and try to avoid crushing them. And you're getting shot at. And everything is, like, the background's one color. And then there's little, like, POW houses, and then there's tanks. And, like, that's it. Like, and again, granted, I was 6 when I was playing this game. Greatest game ever. This new one has, like, things in the foreground, background, and by new, I mean probably 10 years old now. Things in the foreground, background. The guy's being snarky. I'm like, why am I playing this? I played it for, like, 5 hours. Just to, like, keep getting new helicopters.
It does look very busy.
It's just so weird. It came out at the same time as, like, the much better Pac-Man, like, Turn DX and all that stuff. It was the, hey, let's upgrade classic games and for arcade, for, like, Xbox Live Arcade, and then see it. I would not suggest it.
Google says choplifterhd.com is still a website. If you click on it, though, it says, warning, potential security risk ahead.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's
Fair enough.
scripting. So the last thing I've been playing, and it kind of comes with that Nintendo, and I mentioned earlier, I started Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door again, which is the second Paper Mario RPG. This one's on GameCube. That game's awesome. Like, and it still looks magnificent. Like, I'm playing it on a Wii with component cables on one of my like PlayStation monitors. The TVs that they came out with and then swiftly stopped making. And like it's a great game. Like the GameCube controller feels great with it. You're going through and you're saving the princess from not Bowser, like something called the X Squad or whatever. And you'll have different party members join you. You're learning different abilities. You can turn into a paper airplane and fly around. It's just a fun little RPG in the Mario universe. So like Toads and everything are all there.
Yeah.
So, and I figured, hey, I'll give it a shot before the new Paper Mario comes out next month. Next month? Or is it July? I think it's July. Origami.
The origami trailer was like actually really menacing. Like with just like Peach standing there, it's like wrong or right answer. Doesn't matter.
And that's the thing. Like, I've liked the other Paper Mario, and then I've also liked the Mario and Luigi games on like Game Boy Advance and then DS and 3DS. So like I never played this game, and I had friends back in, again, this came out when I was in college. I had friends that like raved about this game, but back then I was not there for it. So I'm hoping to finish it. We'll see. But yeah, I mean that's really like I have access to all of this new gaming tech and whatnot, and I have apparently been playing 360 and GameCube games. So
that's David. Listen, David, we have literally access to almost anything and everything, and David's over there playing the original Doom.
He's playing the original Doom.
That game's great.
He was playing Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, he's the last two games I've seen him play was the original Doom and Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, that's classic.
Do we have time for a short tangent?
Go for it. I mean, this whole podcast is tangents.
So I think one of the things that really keeps Thousand Year Door and Doom so like keeps them looking so good no matter how long it's been since you last played it is the stylization. I think what a lot of like good games like fail to do is create just a style that they can go by. I think that's one of the best things that Borderlands has done, because you can go back to the original Borderlands and it still looks good. It still looks like Borderlands, but that's because they did it in such a way that like it's very cartoony and it's not like trying to be super like hyper realistic. The problem with going hyper realistic in a day and age where graphics are changing not just like every 10 years but every year, it's you're gonna get stuck behind. So games like Borderlands, Thousand Year Door, they hold up better because of stylization.
Definitely. No, you're 100%. I mean, you're right. Like, if you go for realistic, in 5 years, what was realistic, like, let's say the Metal Gear Solid of this time.
Oh, my.
Now you're like, man, it'd be nice if they had faces.
The original Snake, he just has a little, like, pattern where it's a little darker just so you can see he has a beard. It's like
his whole talking is just a Muppet. Like, he just moves his head.
He doesn't even have eyes.
So, but yeah, no, I mean, you're 100% right. Like, that is the nice thing about like going back to these games and like I love Mario 64, but like there's a tough way to say that Mario 64 is a good looking game.
It is.
Like, it's a fun game. I enjoy the heck out of it, but and I love N64, but and pay like less PS1. But like going back to early Polygon games is like
it's hard.
So, but yeah.
All right, so
okay.
I have to ask a question though.
Go for it.
So for those of you listening, there believe it or not, there's an outline, and I just saw something on the outline, and all it says is Janet Jackson.
Oh, you haven't clicked on the link?
No. I just saw it said Janet Jackson. That's all I know.
So,
okay, I'm going to go
click
look.
on the link, and we'll talk about this, and we'll make sure that the link's in the
What is Janet Jackson playing Fortnite?
in the outline. No. So,
You know who plays a lot of Fortnite? Brendan Urie, the singer for Panic at the Disco.
I was going to ask who Brandon Urie was.
Yeah, he's the frontman for Panic at the Disco, and he's always on Twitch streaming Fortnite these days.
Gotcha. So Aaron added this, and we're gonna steal some of his thunder. This tweet is about "Doesn't Really Matter," which was a Janet Jackson song from God, like 2002.
Oh yeah.
Roughly.
Okay.
So if you click on the tweet, and we'll have the link in the description. There are Dreamcast games in the background. I don't know if Sega like co-marketed this video.
Wait a minute.
Wait. You know what that looks like? Okay. It probably isn't, but you know what it reminds me of in the background? Up, down, choo, choo, choo. Was Space Channel 5?
It looks like there is a silhouette of Ooh La La.
Yeah, from Space Channel 5.
So there's definitely Jet Set Radio, Shenmue, and Samade Amigo in there. But yeah, I agree. I'm like, I thought that's
her.
Ooh La La.
That is definitely a silhouette.
After Samba, they show a silhouette of Ooh La La.
From Space
That's really weird.
Space Channel 5. I remember that game. Up, down, down.
Which also has a weird Jackson family connection for the second one. Well, anyway, because Michael Jackson's in that game.
Is he really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
He's in the second one. I think he might have been like a model that was not credited in the first one for some reason.
Huh.
But I know he's in the second one.
That's
but yeah,
funny.
Aaron had added that to the list. I mean, there was some other news we were going to talk about, but we already kind of brought it up. Like Evo's going online, and they've announced
Halo 2 is now available on PC. Let's go.
Halo 2. Yeah, I downloaded that.
I'm excited about that. We're going to run some Halo 2 tournament now that it's on PC for sure.
I wonder how much the competitive scene for Halo 2 is actually going to be revived.
You think? I mean, because
listen, when we run Tampa Bay Comic-Con, Atlanta Comic-Con, it's funny because we could bring in all these new modern things. We bring in 4 360s.
With Halo 2.
System link those bad boys with Halo 2, and they're like
People love it.
the hottest item.
great.
Halo
Like,
2
Halo
System
2 is
Link
great.
360s still to this day is one of our biggest items that people love to play.
Man,
It's
I was
crazy.
working at GameStop when Halo 2 came out, and we did the launch and whatnot. I remember doing that. But also, World of Warcraft was launching around that same time too.
Well, that's, I mean, I got a soft heart for Halo because that's where I got my gamer tag, and that's how I started on online and everything. So,
Gotcha.
so otherwise, yeah, that was. I mean, long story short, I was teaching Spanish, and my high school students, instead of like getting me a mug and chocolates like they always do, the entire high school got together and actually pitched in like $5, $10 each. And they got me the original Xbox brick with Halo, with a live membership, so that I would play with them online.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, and I was like, they're like, well, what's going to be your gamer tag? And man, I took a stab at it. There was a step of faith here. I was like, well, you guys paid for it, so you guys get to pick my gamer tag.
Oh.
Well, they already called me Profe, it's short for professor. And then they were like, you're crazy, man. So Profe Loco became my gamer tag, and it's been my gamer tag ever since.
Yeah.
Never changed it. I'm glad they picked something good. So Halo is always been my... I bought every single Halo game, even the bad ones, just because it's just one of those things that takes me back to, okay, this is where my online adventure really started. So...
that makes me question, is there a story behind the 415?
I mean, it's my birthday.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Succinct.
Because sometimes I've gotten in early enough to get like Tiny as a name, but generally not. And weirdly enough, so again, back in my day, when I got my first email address, you didn't want to have like your first or last name or any of that in there. So I have gone by Tiny at least high school onwards. So I was like, okay, let's go with I used to go find Drew Hill, but that was because I was a big fan of that group. And then I was like, oh, we'll go with this for college and whatnot. So, but what was it? One year, this was the early ELU. Someone's like, anyone that has more than 2 letters or 2 numbers in their name just isn't trying. And I'm like, I think I just yelled in the background, F you! Very surprised I get invited back to those every once in a while. Anyway. Okay, so yeah, let's wrap this up. Javier, Angel, shout-outs, plugs. I know you've already been talking about, hey, you're doing tournaments for Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going to be, so we got 2 major things coming up. The 31st is going to be the Call of Duty tournament, 2v2, gunfight. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Like I said, 4 pools of 4 teams each, so you'll get plenty of games. I just hate it when people, especially now, you're stuck at home, you go 0-2 and you're done with a bracket. So at least with the 4-4 round robin, you'll get plenty of games, and then the top 8 will move into top 8 double elimination. So that'll be fun. We'll have some prizes given away by Microsoft. We got a Rivals tournament. When is it?
Rivals of Aether?
Rivals of Aether. It is going to be in June 5. It is a fundraiser, so you got to bear with us. It's one of those weird things. So you can't really charge money for online tournaments. But you can have a subscriber only tournament.
Yeah.
So what we're going to be doing is in June 13th, we're having a sub-only tournament for Rivals of Aether. So you have to subscribe to our channel, which again, as a charity, we'll get the $250 from the subscription. But we're having a $500 pot for Rivals of Aether top 8. And because I like to do things where people still feel like they have a chance, even if they suck, like me, we're still going to give away $50 to anybody who register who's not in the top 4. The only reason they're not the top 4 is because top 4 are already going to get $50 or more. So anybody who's not in the top 4 is going to be eligible to just a random $50 giveaway. So all you got to do is register. That's going to be, again, June 13th. You can find all the info on the Gamers on the Edge Twitter, which is just that, Gamers on the Edge. Shameless plugs would be our Twitch is gote.tv.
Yeah.
If you go to, it's twitch.tv/Gamers on the Edge, but if you just go gote.tv on your browser, it'll take you there. I can't think of anything else. We started a podcast, so I like to cross promote those. I want everybody to know, our listeners to know where they can listen to the rest of your stuff. So our stuff is going to be on Gamers Viewpoint.
On pretty much anything.
Yep. We just got approved pretty much for everything. So
any place
we
you
do
can
have
find
a podcast,
we'll try to be
for
there.
Gamers Viewpoint, and it's 2 words, Gamers and then Viewpoint. And it's just our weird viewpoint on life in general. It is kind of random, a lot like today. And we've done, top 10 animes for newbies. We've done top 10 animated movies. And we just done some random stuff. It's been a whole lot of fun. We just got started. We're like on episode 4, not episode 411. So you want to hear the other 3, you can go to Gamers Viewpoint and listen to those.